take a look at the S&P 500 cash, and we have zoomed out to the end of 2011 where we started this uptrend, and we came down and tested here in November. We have these highs that go back to 2011, this pivot here, and we created this upward sloping wedge. Obviously we came down close to the 1338 point and figure support, and we hammered there and got back above this trend line. Since that time we established Fibonacci's here up to this high, and using this pivot here to establish the 127 extension, which is this dotted line here at 1445.52. We have 1432 as a target, and the reason I have been bullish and using that as a target is because we consolidated after we broke above 1404. We briefly broke down on Wednesday through that level, went down to 1398.23, and we created this spinning top. Then we continued to rally above this exponential moving average, the 10, and presently we're right at close just above the 50 period. Okay, so we tested that on Thursday and Friday. We closed above it on Friday. We are overbought, but as you know, I follow the MACD, and that continues to move higher. The fact that we've flagged here and we're starting to move higher off the 1404 level leads me to believe that we will, because the 200 period is relatively flat, that will test both the lower and rise up to the upper Bollinger Band. As you know, Bollinger Bands include 90% of price action, the way they're designed, and when the 200 period is flat, your targets are the upper and lower Bollinger Bands. Go short at the upper Bollinger Band, go long at the lower Bollinger Band. So I'm continuing to see strength up to 1432, unless some caveat from Europe hits or the news with regard to the fiscal cliff, being everyone's on vacation now over the next 20 days. I don't see that being a big factor. That said, we have 1432 as the next point and figure support and resistance. We have this Kirby level here that we're moving above. We have a little shelf here, and then another one up here at the highs. We have this 127 extension, and then above that we have 1476.60, which is the next level above for point and figure support and resistance. In this case, it'll be a resistance, and it's at the upper trend line. Okay, so that's what I'm looking forward to in the near future. Looking at the spiders, pretty much the same picture. We have the 618 here. This is using the fibs off of the high down to the low. We've retraced up to the 618. The spiders are basically the same picture as the SPX for obvious reasons. So I'm looking at this lack of volume up here above the Kirby to see prices continue to move higher, as we are just above the 50 period on the spiders. The other part of the S&P 500 is, if we look at the Kumo, we also up at the 1432 level, we have this thin Kumo, and if we manage to break through here within the next few days to week, we could see less resistance to move above this level, and then possibly up to this 145.52 area for the 127 extension. I'm watching Tinkin and Kijun, and if we look at the Bollinger Keltner, we can see the situation here where the Keltner is inside the Bollinger Band. So these continue to expand. The lower Bollinger Band being it is gradually cruising higher just means that prices will move slower or grind higher rather than a big move like this with lots of volatility. You can see the momentum here too. So Momentum flattened out. Looks like it may go back up in the other direction. Watch for this to move lower to indicate any level of lower momentum. Looking at the Russell Kumo, we can see that we broke above this trend line, and we are flagging right underneath Kumo. We have a Tenkan Kijun cross down below, and the fact that Tenkan is flattening out, I would like to see Tenkan start to tip upward. Again, upper Bollinger Band would be a target here. Comp. You can see that we're flagging here just below the 50 period. Watch for this to move higher. This is the 50 period EMA, or this is a moving average. Let's see, let me change that to, I like to use EMAs only because I like it front weighted. So we're just below the 50 EMA and the 20. We're sandwiched in between the two of those. 200 period is flat, so again you trade the upper and lower Bollinger Bands. DBV, Currency Harvest Fund, the carry trade. Remember, we are moving higher. Going to need to break higher. As long as this continues to move higher, that's good for equities. The Euro US dollar, we had some weakness last week, but we were held by the 50 and the 200 period. So keep an eye on those. Let me adjust this. Still in this upward sloping wedge pattern. We could come down to this lower trend line and move higher. Note MACD is crossed, and stochastics is headed down, so we could see further weakness on the Euro US dollar. Keep an eye on the Aussie US dollar if you're trading gold. You want to see this moving higher, since Australia has a lot of commodity related companies. You want to see, and mining, you want to see this pair moving higher. Pretty nice bullish pattern. So it looks pretty good for the Aussie US dollar. The US dollar to Japanese yen, keep an eye on that. It's flagging here, looking pretty strong. But we have a doji here, so there's some indecision in a lot of these candles. Keep an eye on this one going into this week. We have quite a big cup here and a handle. So let's watch the yen. Okay. Watching sectors to see where we might get our next trades. We can go to stock charts, and under the free charts tab, go down here to S&P sector ETFs. We can set our chart to a histogram, and right clicking on this, we go to the past week. We can see financials have been outperforming the S&P relative to the S&P, the overall S&P. Industrials are doing okay, and you can see the other sectors that are doing okay. Let's bring this down to the last couple of days of the week. You can see finance is doing better, consumer staples, energy, materials, and industrials. And consumer discretionary is still doing okay. Let's go out to the past month, and you can see what the sectors have been doing. Going over to FinViz, finviz.com, we can look at the screener and then go to bubbles. Alright, and then just using your mouse roller, and you pick your winners this way. You can see, you mouse over these and you can see your charts. Okay, specialty chemicals, healthcare, JP Morgan, you can see there, nice pattern. Schwab, yes, PSX, Phillips, So if you're looking to go long, if you're looking to go short, obviously you look at the bottom list here and you can see who's doing more poorly. Interesting to see First Solar down here after that nice run that we picked up on last week. We broke above this ascending triangle. Okay, I'll do another video. I just wanted to get this one out on the S&P 500 and the other indices.